This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
There's a myth a lot of us grow up believing that hair loss is just a part of life. It happens. It runs in the family. Once it starts, there's no stopping it. But here's the truth. That's outdated thinking. Scientific understanding of hair loss has advanced in recent years. Today, we have a deeper knowledge of underlying causes, and we've developed science-backed solutions that are both effective and safe. And that's at the very root of Happy Head. Dermatologist-led innovation offering stronger, FDA-approved ingredients that work. But what really sets Happy Head apart is how personalized it is. They don't do one-size-fits-all fixes. You fill out a comprehensive consultation, and their board-certified dermatologists design a formula specifically for your hair loss pattern, goals, and lifestyle. And whether you're early in your journey or more advanced, Happy Head offers targeted options that actually work. Topical treatments, oral capsules, or potent dual-action bundles all delivered directly to you, discreetly and freshly compounded in the U.S. Most people start seeing results in 3 to 6 months. But the real magic? It's sustainable. This isn't just about growing hair, it's about keeping it long-term. So no, hair loss isn't inevitable anymore. Visit happyhead.com and find out what's possible when science, expertise, and personalization come together. Hair happiness starts here.
9 to noon.
There we go, Paul! Thank you, Minneapolis.
Shall we begin?
Holy Toledo!
Hashtag Fake Radio.
Yes!
Hold on to your butts.
Thank you.
Copyright Dan Barrero.
Homer! Ooh! You homer!
Here he is. Here they come. Ben Leber at Nacho Leber via Twitter. And don't forget, Twin Cities Live, 3 to 4:30 on Channel 5. And Twin Cities Live is going to be hitting the road a week from today. A, good morning. And B, where y'all going to be a week from today?
Good morning. And yeah, thanks for bringing that up. So every month, pretty much throughout the course of the calendar year, there are like maybe 2 months, I think, during the state fair and then during Christmas time that we don't go out and about, and we call them TCL in your town. And we pick communities around the metro that we would love to highlight. We kind of take our show to them. And so we're going to be going to Lake Minnetonka area next Thursday. We're going to be at Maynard's.
Oh, wow. Maynard's in the summer, you say?
Oh, yeah.
That's sweet. Better find a parking spot now.
That's right. So live next Thursday, 3 o'clock. The whole show is going to be there, 3 to 4:30.
When do the doors open?
You know, that's up to every place.
Oh, it is? Okay.
You know, not to humble brag about the show, but if a place is going to open at 10 or 11, most of the time we have our fans there an hour before.
Yeah.
Because there's no tickets. It's just like first come, first serve. You get in there, you find your table, you just post up, you have lunch, you end up having apps again when the show starts. And most of the time, and I do encourage this because it makes our show more fun, you partake in the cocktails.
Yeah.
Partake in the drink specials.
Well, it's kind of like the Friday feast, right? And that's why 100%. I asked. Because you've casually, just in passing, kind of mentioned it before, like we're doing this at XYZ bar and restaurant. And the place is freaking jammed. People out the door wanting to have, a little pina colada with a side dish of Ben. I mean, this is terrific. It's a Friday feast.
Now, you can't take any bites of me,
yes, sorry.
Not that it's amazingly shocking here, because both of you know the flight attendant. I mean, the flight attendant, if the line starts at 9, she's there at 8:54.
That is correct.
So she's been to a couple of these and I know, right? Just completely loves it. And it's cool that you guys, when you go to some places, you'll do not necessarily full thematic themes with the towns or whatever, but you'll mix it into stuff. We're in Lake Minnetonka. So I would imagine you haven't put your set list together yet for a show a week from Thursday.
We have.
Oh, yeah.
We were very well prepared.
Damn. So you got a show today, 3 to 4:30, and you got next Thursday already planned?
I will put it this way. We have.
That's next level.
I think that we have the next 2.5 weeks planned.
Jeez. Yeah. I just learned George Pickens was traded today.
No, our show.
Just kidding.
Our show has to work out that far.
Yeah.
We are usually as far as a full day goes, the 90 minutes, usually it's booked out.
Yeah.
At least a solid 2 weeks before.
Well, I mean, there is a page turner word a book. There is a people meter mover word radio. With Lake Minnetonka, and it involves former Vikings. So, and you being a former Viking, I mean, there's a great story to tell.
Oh, yeah.
Story to tell.
You ready for that story?
That's a great angle that I never thought of. So we should do it. We should do a segment where we get some eyewitness accounts from the Love Boat.
Zoom with Fred Smoot.
Yeah,
Smoot would steal the show.
Well, and he would 1,000% join in any of these festivities, by the way.
Oh, man.
What was it? It was out in Washington. I forget what it was, but he kind of, I don't want to say he...
The podcast bit?
Regenerized or revitalized his career, or at least...
Yeah.
But he found his way back in the limelight, basically going on tour and openly answering all the Love Boat related questions, like 5 or 6 years ago.
No,
you weren't on the team then, were you?
No, I was. The funny thing is,
you joined the next year.
Oh wait, that was 06 you got here.
I joined, and part of this is kind of what my agent was. I was getting this information from my agent. Part of the reason why they thought that I was an enticing pickup. I mean, it's not the full
You hate
reason.
boats?
No.
It wasn't how you played. It wasn't.
Yeah. It
Don't
was
know
like,
anybody in Atlanta?
It's like, hey, we think that you're a good player, but also we kind of need to clean up our image around here.
Yeah.
And you kind of check those other boxes that we're looking for off the field.
Would you describe yourself as safe?
Yes.
I would too.
I think
Yes.
so.
Yeah, Nacho's not an off the field problem.
I don't think so.
As the
Yes.
Vikings radio network goes.
Yeah.
That would be Poopy Dave. Just kidding.
Did I ever tell you that story?
What, about Poopy Dave? No.
I think I was telling the Power Trip guys.
David Koob, my best friend.
Yeah, because in my phone, I just have him as Poopy Dave.
That's super special.
So,
why wouldn't you?
Why not?
Right.
And so my 11-year-old, he got a phone for the first time, and because it's a child account, he's logged onto my iCloud account.
Yeah.
And so he shares my contacts.
That's great.
And he was looking at his phone, all excited as kids do when they're looking through something that's new and exploring. He's like, Dad, who's Poopy Dave?
I always love that one.
I go, and I just laughed.
So wait, let me get this straight. He didn't ask about Lolita, Tanqueray, or Champagne.
None of those.
Instead, he asked about Poopy Dave.
Those all
I
made
always
sense
love
to him.
that one.
No, he's met Tanqueray. He likes
Wit, though.
Auntie Tang is what he calls her.
Wow. I mean,
so he
Tough to get reliable babysitting.
I'm going
Yeah,
to stop it right there with my Puna Ford line. I was about ready to unfurl. We'll just stop it right there.
So anyway,
That's cool.
yeah, in front of the whole family, he's like, Dad, who's this Poopy Dave you have on your phone? And I just had to laugh. I'm like, I don't even know how to explain how he got his name, because I don't know how he got his name.
Yeah.
But I explained who he was and why he was called that.
Right. My daughter, Nicole, when she was maybe 4 or 5, David Koob met him and couldn't say Koob. So just like, children will be at times, she thought it was funny to call him David Poop.
I always love that
So
one.
we started calling him Poopy Dave. And that's the origin of that super special story. With the Love Boat situation, that was very early in the Wilf regime of owning the
I
team.
think that was the first year, wasn't
Right.
it?
So, I mean, it's like, they're happy, and, it might have been a bat mitzvah taking place when they get the phone call.
I always love that one.
Has that happened? And they it was so early in the equation that happened. It's like, what's this going to be like?
Well, think about it. Like real estate guys by trade, right? And there's an element of cachet. So at one point, I'm sure if they opened a vein, they'd admit, early on, it was like this is really cool to own an NFL team.
Yeah.
And they're not even, I mean, what was that, week 5, week 6? I forget, it was like October, I think. It was an earlier bye.
Yeah.
They couldn't even get through the bye week without a complete PR disaster.
If I understand the story correctly, is it happened during the bye week, yes. But it didn't come out for like a month later.
I'd have to remember back. You're probably right.
Oh, it certainly came out before the Charlotte game.
Is that what it was?
Well, Steve Smith provided one of the great touchdown celebrations in sarcastic fashion I've ever seen.
I forget that bit. Rowing the boat?
In the end zone.
Yes,
yeah.
I mean, but what he did was, see, it's radio, so you can't see it. So he scores, then he sits down real fast, pretends like he picks up a paddle. He quick
paddling.
looks left and right, like, is anybody looking? So quick looks left, right, and then real fast paddling. And that was the time where the team we would park at Lindbergh Terminal in the ramp, and then we would leave from F6. So we would go through normal TSA and stuff like that. And after they lost the game, and we got back and we're landing F6, get off F6, go to your car. It just felt like the whole town was laughing. You know, it's like people wouldn't make eye contact working in the airport with the people walking through and everything. It was just, people wanted to say stuff like, I'm sorry and everything's going to be okay, or you lecherous fool, or whatever. But people, it was like, there's an old Teddy Pendergrass song called The Whole Town's Laughing at Me. It just reminded me of, I wasn't on the boat, but just like walking through it,
Well, the thing is, so you know how rumors start. I mean, they can just, especially, in a small community that is the NFL, I don't know how it got so sideways, but by the time the news got to us in San Diego about what happened, I can understand why Steve Smith did what he did, because we thought it was mass chaos. We thought these guys are on these houseboats. We thought they got raided by the police. The story was that the police boats came to their boat, busted the party, and dudes were literally jumping off the ship and swimming to shore. Okay, so that's the stories. That's the stories that we were told. So, and then to come to find out when I was talking to the guys that were actually there. When I got here to Minnesota, it was so benign. Compared to what, they didn't even know that they were in trouble. Like, they went and did their whole thing that whole night. They went from point A to point B, and everybody got home safely and all this other stuff. And it wasn't until the charges were pressed weeks later that they thought they did anything wrong.
Well, Berkey, Matt definitely could tell this, story better than me. He would have details of it, and I'm not going to use any other names. But after that, maybe they had the bye after that or something, then they came out of it. But the locker room got weird. The locker room got weird for a little bit, because there were cameras coming in there looking for comments from people. Right. And then most people were like, well, I wasn't on the boat. Well, see, there's some players who took offense to certain players not, quote, getting their backs, end quote, even if they weren't there. And they're just text Burkhlater. I mean, there was a little friction between some players, like, dog, you ain't got my back.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't even on the boat, you idiot. Why'd you do that in the first place, dog? And then, like, closer and closer and closer.
Can I be completely honest and frank here? This is gonna sound probably, what's the right word? Probably racist. But I'm just,
that's great.
But this is the reality of what happened, and why I think there was some divisions driven in that locker room. The party itself between the two boats was predominantly all the black players. I believe there's only one white player on the boat, either boat.
Chris Cluey likes adventure.
No, I know who the guy was.
Oh.
So what happened was, because of the...
So you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, because
the
of
locker room stuff.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, for the most part.
Yeah.
For the women that were accusing the men, the players, of doing the bad things, when they were going through the roster, the pictured roster, so they couldn't distinguish which black guys were on the team or were on the boat. So they just basically kind of named. They just basically said like all these black guys were there.
So like Willie Shaw was worried he was going to catch a stray. Even though he's like in a recliner watching a TV show.
Exactly. So guys were getting in trouble by their spouses and girlfriends or whatever, and they're like, honey, I wasn't even on the boat. And they're like, but you're being named and you're being questioned. Well, it's because the girls thought all the black guys looked the same.
Wow.
So that was a part of it. And then the one white guy who they didn't really get a good look at, then they thought that every white guy that kind of fit that build was that white guy. So then there's multiple white guys that got implicated, and they're like, I wasn't even invited on that boat.
You got safety Brian Russell catching strays.
Yeah, I'm not even cool enough to be invited to that party. So 100% there were guys that were brought in, and it was all racial profiling because they couldn't decide who was who. And so they're like, oh, well, then that guy.
Wow.
And then, I think there was a white guy on the boat. Oh, okay. It's that guy. They didn't know. So then it got really, really messy.
Yeah.
So then I can see why guys were like, well, even if you weren't there, you got to stick up for us and be like, hell no, man.
Yeah.
Like I got people to deal with at home too.
Right.
You know? Like my gal's giving me a hard time and I wasn't even there. So why am I, you're not worth sticking up for.
Yeah. We talk about the Wilf ownership, and what would it be? 20 years of ownership, like right around there now. Into the 2025 season. And, you're very early in the equation, might be celebrating a bat mitzvah. You get the call about the Love Boat. And then you think you're chill, and then the next call you get within, I don't know, weeks or months is, okay, so our running back tried to smuggle what through TSA?
I always love that one.
A Whizzinator?
I always love that one.
I mean, what an indoctrination to the league before. So when they say the culture is good, we here know when the culture is not good what it looks like, and the culture with the Minnesota Vikings now is the spirit has returned to the building. Speaking of recognizing people, up until 2 days ago, I thought this morning I was going to get the opportunity to recognize and meet Paul McCartney. That Paul McCartney of the see, you're laughing too. I know I'm an idiot here, and like I really thought he was going to be at this announcement bit this morning until 2 days ago, until Live Nation person hit me with the no silly LOL. I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm just wishful thinking here. Wow.
I love that you're able to admit that. I that's the best thing about you.
And I'm telling the truth.
I know you're telling the truth.
I was so excited. Now, it was fun this morning. It was great. But there was no Paul McCartney, but he'll be here in mid-October. And the question for you is, are you a big fan of the Beatles?
Respect, but no.
Same. I think that's probably the way 9 to noon would describe it. Who's the most famous person you ever have met? Because for me, I said this earlier, it's Daryl Hall from Daryl Hall and John Oates.
Yeah.
It's Sugar Ray Leonard and Michael Jordan. So we got Moss and Favre and everything in the mix. And I mean, you played with them and know them. But those three for me. And I thought McCartney was going to soar by those three and go right to the top. I'm going to be meeting a Beatle here. Paul McCartney away. Silly love songs, man.
If I had met Paul McCartney, that'd definitely be the most famous person I ever met. Yeah, if you take away the athlete side of things, like the football side of things, then I would say Ryan Reynolds. I snuck a picture with. And then
what about Josh Duhamel
and Dave Matthews?
Oh wow, you met Dave Matthews? How?
Yeah. So Dave
don't love his music. I think it's funky and cool, and I know his story from starting in garages in Virginia, and I mean it's a really cool story, and he's really good at what he does. I mean, he's immortality.
Yeah, I mean it's generational, right? Yeah. I mean same reason why I respect the Beatles but don't love them. It's not my generation. I think Dave Matthews is kind of the same thing. Like he was right in the wheelhouse for me as a high schooler and in college, where like that was he sort of changed the game, in our music world. So I became a huge fan of his, and then my wife did as well. So anyway, he happens to vacation in the Bahamas, the same place that we do.
Oh, now, sweet.
We don't always overlap, but there's been multiple occasions where we're there and we know that he's there. That's and now, nice. Granted, I mean. We're not staying in the same accommodations. He's staying in a private home that's down.
I got you.
Down this private drive that you got to have major money.
Well, he probably owns the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know the whole situation, but the point is, like, we were on vacation. We knew that he was on the island again, and the kids were younger, and my wife was just like, "Hey, we're out of diapers. Can you just go to the general store and go get diapers?"
Wow.
It's like in the afternoon. I was actually kind of reluctant. It's like one of those situations where I'm sitting there, I'm in the sun, and I'm like reading a book. I'm like, this is just great. And then she like wants to interrupt me because she doesn't want to go to the store. She sends me to the store. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I go to the store and I pull up and I see Dave and his family get out of their golf cart and walk into the same store.
Do they got muscle with them or just like?
No.
Yeah.
No, this island's not like that. Like you don't need to have anybody like that.
Mm-hmm. So nobody mixes you up for Scott Fujita?
No.
Okay, just checking.
Not at all. So anyway, I see him go into the store, and then his wife was standing outside, and I said, would it be too much to ask to get a picture with your husband?
The best.
And she's like, no, not at all.
The best.
And she walks in to the store and grabs him and pulls him out of the store.
Like, honey.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. I did not expect you to go get him right now. I was just going to wait until you guys were, you guys were doing the family time. And he's like, no. He's like, I'm happy to do it.
I've always been a Bears fan. I've always wanted to meet Hunter Hillenmeyer. This is an honor for me too.
Yeah. So I said, hi, I'm Paul Allen. Nice to meet you.
I thought you died.
Anyway, he was super generous, very nice. I mean, the same thing that you think that he is. He was in that 90 seconds where I met him.
People like
took
that.
A selfie and that was it.
That's phenomenal. People like that. It happens. Well, now in the day and age of recording and social media and stuff, maybe it doesn't happen as much. But I mean, like they're always strumming the guitar, playing the little keyboard, trying to come up with the next number one hit. But I mean, like if he sits on a stump on a beach in the Bahamas and there's a fire by there and just start play, he can just start play. So think what you can do. I mean, you can show people how you take Madison Hedgecock out as on a run blitz. I can yell Andy's loose. Nordo can slap his bass. Dave Matthews can sit there on a stump and like start strumming the guitar and singing cover songs, his songs or whatever. And like people are going to gather around. It would be unbelievable. I bet you they do stuff like that all the time. Like Taylor Swift did that Travis Kelce bit.
If I'm an artist like that, I would love, Nashville's famous for that. I mean, probably not so much anymore. Maybe some of the off-Broadway stuff, but that is the one cool thing about country artists is like they still love getting out there and just surprising people. And
that's awesome.
They like it for the artistry of the bit.
Yeah.
And I think
all of them do. So
I think some of the mega stars don't like doing it anymore.
Bunkers on Washington and Minneapolis. I used to go almost every Sunday and Monday night. Didn't go for a while. Started going again a little bit on Sunday nights. Well, it's music immortality. And like when bands play in Minneapolis, they ask about bunkers. Band's called Dr. Mambo's Combo. It's old school R&B covers. A lot of them, a fair amount of them are rather obscure. I know them, but I mean, it's like with the Commodores, people would know Easy or they would know Brick House. I mean, they'll go deep and do stuff like that. It's well respected within the music industry. So there were 2 times that I was there many years ago. One time, Prince. Okay, it's about 12:10. I'm about ready to leave. I mean, I got like 4 7-7s in me. I got to ride home. I think I had 10-1 with Dubé the next day. And all of a sudden there was like, people, like there was a murmur. It was like the bit. And the side door opened and Prince walked in.
There's smoke behind him and all this other stuff.
He just walked in wearing, it wasn't normal clothes, but like the bell bottom pants. And he was Prince, man. His hair was a little bigger or shorter than it was from like what people would think from Purple Rain and Big and stuff. And he brought his bass in. They proceeded to do 2 or 3 songs. He did nothing but play bass with his back to the crowd, with the funkiest foot dance moves during it was unbelievable. Then after the 3rd song, he just turned around, blew a kiss to the crowd, and left.
So it didn't sing?
Nope, didn't sing.
Just
the time I was there, he didn't.
That's super cool.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. They're the falsetto front man. I think he's still alive. Philip Bailey. Earth, Wind, and Fire played at a local venue. It's like 11:45, 11:30 Monday night. And side door, in walks Philip Bailey, the lead singer of Earth, Wind, and Fire. And he sang a couple of songs, came down onto the dance floor and was dancing with all of us. And then he left. So, I mean, places like that, like artists, they do things like that.
Yeah.
And it's the gifts that they have, they like to share. And you got to have the show off gene to a certain extent to get to that level anyway. The impact they make on people around them when they do things like that, it's unbelievable.
I know.
Here we are, 2025. I've never forgotten it.
Yeah. If you have a musical talent like that, I think that'd be super fun to do.
Big time.
Just to kind of, I don't think it's like one of those things like it doesn't seem pretentious at all.
Right.
It just seems
it's your
like,
life.
Yeah. It just seems like you're going back to your roots a little bit.
Like you blowing up Madison Hedgecock.
No.
That squatty little fullback gave so many linebackers problems.
Oh my gosh. I think my bulging disc in my neck are probably because of that freaking guy.
Bulging disc.
No, the cool thing going back to I wanted to say this about Dave. And I've never experienced this, but the cool thing I think about the place that we go to, because there is the native people that live on the island, they don't get starstruck at all.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why people like Dave like going there, because we hear multiple stories where Dave will just show up at a bar because he's a normal human being, right?
Yeah.
And he wants to be a normal human being.
Yeah.
He'll just belly up to a bar in the course of an afternoon, hit a couple rum drinks and just hang out with the locals, and nobody bothers it.
That's awesome.
Like he doesn't bring a crowd of people around him.
Yeah.
The tourists kind of get the bit. They're not going to be surrounding him and like want to sit next to him and pick his brain. He just hangs out, and gets to feel like a normal person for a while.
Well, there's 2% of the world where he can do that.
Yeah.
This is one of them where you're describing.
Right. And I think that is a super cool thing about where we go that I appreciate. I mean, not for me. I can go whatever and do whatever there. Nobody knows who I am. But to know that people like that can just go there and say, like, this is why we like the place. Not just because we think it's beautiful, but because we can feel normal.
Yeah, that's the famous of all famous ever to famous. That's Ben Leber at Nacho Leber via Twitter. Another segment with beloved Nacho around the corner. But first,
The Fan, along with BigDeck.com, want to give you a shot at some bonus bucks, national cash contest. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword bonus. You might win some money with the keyword bonus at KF.
Hot days, humid nights, and non-stop plans. All that heat can increase hair shedding, while a packed schedule can add stress, which can impact your hair. Nutrafol's whole body approach and clinically tested formulas support your hair from within, so you can focus on living your best life all summer long.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol.
Thinning hair is different for men and women, so a one-size-fits-all approach to hair growth doesn't cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas for men and women that are tailored to different life stages, such as postpartum or menopause, and lifestyle factors, such as a plant-based lifestyle, so you can get just what you need. Plus, users of Nutrafol men reported no impact to sexual performance.
Thank goodness. While many supplements rely solely on ingredient studies, Nutrafol clinically tests final formulations to ensure their efficacy. In a clinical study, 84% of men showed improvement in their hair after 6 months taking Nutrafol Men Hair Growth Supplement, and 90% of women saw overall improvement in their hair after taking Nutrafol Women Hair Growth Supplement for 6 months.
Building a hair growth routine is easy. Order online, no prescription needed. Enjoy free shipping, automated deliveries, and up to 20% savings with Nutrafol subscription. Plus, get free naturopathic doctor consults and a Headspace meditation membership.
Start your hair growth journey with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering listeners $10 off your first month subscription. Free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com. Enter promo code CULTURISTAS.
Find out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com. Spelled Nutrafol.com. Promo code CULTURISTAS. That's Nutrafol.com. Promo code CULTURISTAS.
There's a myth a lot of us grow up believing that hair loss is just a part of life. It happens. It runs in the family. Once it starts, there's no stopping it. But here's the truth. That's outdated thinking. Scientific understanding of hair loss has advanced in recent years. Today we have a deeper knowledge of underlying causes, and we've developed science-backed solutions that are both effective and safe. And that's at the very root of Happy Head. Dermatologist-led innovation offering stronger, FDA-approved ingredients that work. But what really sets Happy Head apart is how personalized it is. They don't do one-size-fits-all fixes. You fill out a comprehensive consultation, and their board-certified dermatologists design a formula specifically for your hair loss pattern, goals, and lifestyle. And whether you're early in your journey or more advanced, Happy Head offers targeted options that actually work. Topical treatments, oral capsules, or potent dual-action bundles all delivered directly to you, discreetly and freshly compounded in the U.S. Most people start seeing results in 3 to 6 months. But the real magic? It's sustainable. This isn't just about growing hair, it's about keeping it long-term. So no, hair loss isn't inevitable anymore. Visit happyhead.com and find out what's possible when science, expertise, and personalization come together. Hair happiness starts here.
KFAN.
KFAN is my favorite station. We love the Vikings.
I mean, pick your poison with that defense. Pick your poison with that defense. And some members of that defense are going to be in play a month from Saturday. A month from Saturday, Vikings and Houston Texans, 3 o'clock, U.S. Bank Stadium. The Vikings football Sunday on a Saturday with a main man Muscle begin at 1 o'clock. Beloved Nachito will be on the sidelines. Pete and I will be in the booth describing a game. Maybe J.J. McCarthy plays in. Don't know. Do you think, well, let me, since we're short on time here, let me end with this. Let's see. Kwesi's playing incredibly fast. Justin Schools, an offensive tackle for the Vikings, started 20-some-odd games for the Bucs. Bucs fans are reeling right now. Stud tackle Tristan Wirfs had surgery Tuesday. He's going to miss games to start the season. They missed Justin School. Kwesi's playing fast. He got him before the Wirfs injury. Yeah, here it is. I get asked a lot, how do you think McCarthy will do this season? J.J. McCarthy. How do you think McCarthy will do this season? When or if, pose that question, because I know you get it too. How do you handle it? Like, what's your response?
I mean, my response is easy. I mean, I think he's going to do really, really well. The reason I hesitate is because it's funny because my answer is legitimate. I think that he's going to do great. I think that he has the it factor. I think he has all the intangibles that you're looking for. I don't care about what some people think about his physicals. I think that he's fast enough. He's big enough. I think he's got more than enough arm strength. Is there going to be some expected bumps in the roads? 100%. But I think in totality, I think he's going to be fantastic. The funny thing is, and the reason I hesitate is because when I get asked this question, and I'll bounce it back to you, I would say 75% of the time when somebody, whoever's asking me the question and they bring up J.J. McCarthy, their face and eyes light up. And they're like, hey.
Agreed.
It's like, hey,
yeah.
What do you think about JJ?
Yeah, and he's a major talker.
And they almost say it with a smile.
Yep.
Right? So I already can tell what they think of JJ. Mm-hmm. So a lot
or what they hope they think about
what they hope they think. Yeah. So my response a lot of times like, well, same as you. I can tell that you're excited about him, right?
Yeah.
But is that kind of how your interactions when people ask you the question?
Yes.
Of course, it's like the standard question that they just want to ask. But the person that's asking the question, I feel like they're tipping their hand how much they're excited about him as well.
My stock answer, because I've been asked it a lot, specifically the last 3 weeks, I would guess during organized team activities there were times he was swimming in it, because now it's a lot of things are coming at him as the one. The shortchanged portion of the equation here is the high-end coaching staff they have, led by the coach of the year, and a lot of smart coaches on this team. So they're going to know in the early stages what he may not necessarily do that well or where they really need to protect him. and they're going to raise him on their terms. They're going to raise him on their timetable, recognizing after 2025, we got more seasons to play with this kid. So when you mesh his God-given ability with what I believe, how I believe the coaching staff will mask things until they're ready to unfurl them, I think it's going to be good. It has a chance to be high-end good, but we may not see that right out of the gate, you know? I think we're going to run a lot.
I think that's
early.
I think that's what the MO should be anyway. Is just
agreed.
Do what this guy does best, and I think what he does best is not having to throw the ball 55 times a game. So that's why did you go out and get Jordan Mason?
Yeah,
because you have another 1B running back.
Yep,
not necessarily a 2. He's kind of a 1B,
right?
And so I think Aaron Jones fully understands what his role in this team is going to be, and I think he fully embraces that, and I think he's excited about it. I mean, he had more touches last year than he's ever had in his whole career. I think he's probably looking forward to that number coming down a little bit to make himself a little bit more productive and a little bit more explosive through 17-game season. But I think leaning on the run game is going to be huge. And I think just looking at JJ and letting him know that you don't have to force everything. We can play small ball for a while. We're going to take our shots, and we hope that the big plays are there, and we hope that, he can take the top off the defense a little more consistently. But I think that even right now, we're like, we can win games by just playing efficient football. Don't give the ball away, some shorter passes, a little more play action, a little more run game. Because we know this defense is going to be rock solid too.
Lastly, are you watching Quarterback Season 2 on Netflix? We got Kirk O'Change, we got Joey Burrow, and we got Jared Goff.
No, but I'm very excited about it because
you'll love it. Episode 1's phenomenal.
I love every clip that has been put out there. It is right up my alley. I really have not had any time at home to watch any Netflix. Like the last 2 days, we haven't even had the TV on when we get home.
Right.
But yes, it'll be the first thing I tune into. Yeah. And I'll probably binge it. I'll binge it hard like everybody else. Like Sauce was saying, he's already done. He's watched the whole thing, so I'll probably start it today in some capacity.
Joe Burrow is markedly he's much more of a mama's boy than I ever thought.
Really?
I didn't know his father was defensive coordinator at Ohio University for the Bobcats. So dad always was recruiting. Mom was the one to drive me hours to mom this, mom that, mom this, mom that. Then they're like sitting back at a table and he's like, look, I know how to do laundry. I know how to do all of this. I just don't like doing it. And by the way, I always had a mom who did it for me.
Right.
And he was so, I like Joe Burrow a lot. I'm really, really just becoming infatuated with him because of the show.
It's so interesting, right? Like when you think about what it takes to be a high-ender athlete or a high performer in any capacity, we have generically, I think we have this idea that your upbringing had to create some sort of edge, right? You had to develop some sort of chip on your shoulder.
Yep.
The Kobe Bryants, like they find this Mamba mentality, and a lot of it's from like hardship. And it is kind of interesting that there are a lot of athletes, you may not know them, but we're seeing one right now on Netflix that had sort of a mama's boy upbringing.
Yeah.
Now, dad wasn't really around. I mean, you could turn that into a little bit of a hardship. You could turn that into an edge a little bit. You can say, like, I'm trying to prove myself to my dad. I got to get my dad's attention, when he's out recruiting all these other high-end high school players. Like, how am I going to rise to the top where he actually notices me for what I do? Whether that's real or not real. I can see how that could be a motivation for a young child. But to be admittedly saying, like, my mom took care of me. I was pampered as a little kid.
Yeah.
He's
straight about it. He's right out there.
He didn't grow up on the streets, scrapping for food. It sounded like he had a very nice, like middle class, upbringing. Like you would look at this guy and be like, how can this guy have this killer mentality? And he's got it.
He's a cool cat, man.
He's a cool cat. And he's self-aware enough to know all that.
Yep.
And I love the fact that I've only seen the clips. Like I said, I haven't seen the whole thing yet.
Yeah.
How he leans in his nerdiness, with his fossil stuff.
That's beautifully stated.
Like lean into it.
No, you're right.
Be so self-assured and self-confident that like you don't care that what you're super fascinated by might lean towards the dork nerdy part, But that's okay.
Like cousins.
Yeah, like cousins.
Yes.
Like that's okay. If you love fossils and you love archaeology, why can't that be your passion?
The best.
I think it's cool.
You're the best. Have a great weekend. I'll see you soon,
too.
all right?
All right, see you.
Ben Leber. Don't forget today, 3 to 4:30, Twin Cities Live on Channel 5. We'll be right back.
Fan.
Give it to us, brother.
News to Nord brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park, CanterburyPark.com. And feeling the felt, poker, blackjack, table games. And right now with live racing, by the way, it's a 4-day week where you had racing last night, but you get some tonight with some $2 beers, $2 admission, a couple bucks for a hot dog. Let's go for that. And then Saturday and Sunday as well. So CanterburyPark.com for all event details. The Minnesota Twins, PA, good times, bad times. They're 2 for 2 against the Cubs. They win last night, 4-2. And it was, in the first inning, it was Jefferson with an RBI single that scored Buxton. Well, how did Buxton get on base? Well, he got plunked, PA. The problem with getting plunked is it sounds like he has a contusion on his wrist.
Oh, geez.
So now he's day to day, and I don't think today is said day. I think he'll be out today. But 4-2 the final. Mr. Festa not festering. He did give up a couple in the fourth, but other than that, through 5 1/3, Festa gets a W. And the Minnesota Twins are creeping their way, just 2 games under 500, and they have one more today against the Cubbies before a weekend party gets started with the Pittsburgh Pirates in town. And I heard, I don't know if this is accurate.
Yep.
I guess I saw it on X, so it must be the truth. That the Skeens-Joe Ryan matchup actually got adjusted. I think it's tomorrow night.
Oh, wow.
And there might be a concert afterwards. So there might be a little Friday night festival down in the Target Field area. So good for the Twins to get the W yesterday, though.
Those of you en route to Target Field for the 12-10 Life Changer, here's your starting lineup for your Minnesota Twins. Batting first and playing left field, Willie Castro. Batting second, the DH, Trevor Larnach. Batting third, playing second base, Brooks Lee. Batting fourth, the cleanup hitter and catcher, Ryan Jeffers. The right fielder and batting fifth, Matt Wallner. Batting sixth and playing shortstop, Carlos Correa. Batting seventh and playing first base, Cody Clemens. Batting eighth and playing third base, Royce Lewis. Batting ninth and playing center field, Harrison Bader. That's your lineup for the Twin Enigmatics today, 12-10 first pitch.
How much are you looking forward to 2:30 p.m. today? So we'll get underway in this Twins Cubs game.
I'll be in the Canterbury press box.
Well, you're going to be in the press box. You'll watch Paddock grinding while maybe thinking about what's going on in the Canterbury paddock later on with live racing.
Yeah.
But at 2:30 p.m. today, the Minnesota Timberwolves will be facing the New Orleans Pelicans in their first game of the NBA Summer League.
And near Rookie of the Year, Yves Missy.
And Yves Missy. Don't miss him. He was a big, I gotta say this, Yves Missy, big part of Khan's lineup for a stretch last year. And then Cleveland snaked him off the waiver wire.
Block shots, hit field goal percentage is good.
Yeah, high percentage,
if
8-9
Yves
rebounds.
Missy is in a Rookie of the Year conversation,
it's a tough year for rookies.
It's a bad rookie class.
Excited to see Dillingham. Went into detail with, of course, Parker Foxter in the opening segment. What does part 2.0 Dillingham look like? I am kind of psyched to see, the Terrence Shannon Jr. aspect of things, although how much of this is a little bit like fourth preseason game where you try to project, you're watching back in the day. I'll always go back to it like, how many people loved Joe Banyard in the preseason? But in the end, it's like,
that's an elite bowl.
We got Adrian, right?
Yeah.
But I look at that similarly. You need You want the spice to show up with Dillingham. You want Shannon, rolling ball of butcher knives to maybe stretch out that 3 minutes of fury and make it 20.
Nobody better.
But I want to see Beringer, right? You want to see a little pick and roll. You want to see the young kid, just absolutely swat one into the fifth row or dunk one down on an oop. So those are the kinds of things I'm looking at. But I do kind of feel like, making mountains out of molehills, there'll be some parts of this. I was in love with Deshaun Nix last summer league, those sorts of things where you're going to get really excited about these guys but still having to be patient a bit too. All the same, it's going to be fun at 2:30. It's going to be Dillingham trying to drive to the rim and watch out for the waving arms and hands of Eves Missy.
Yeah, and your guy Derek Queen. Is it Derek Queen or Derek Keys?
Derek Queen.
Yeah, Derek Queen.
Maryland kid.
The Terrapin. I mean, he might eat the French kid during the course of the game. So I'm kind of looking forward to watching him a little bit. But
yeah,
I don't mind summer league ball. You just, unless you're a hardcore college basketball guy, you got to get the summer league games at the right time.
Right.
Like preferably when they start. And, hey, there's Ace Bailey. Hey, there's Walter Clayton Jr.
You were mentioning Ace, though. I think there's and you hope it. I have no vitriol or I have no negativity towards Ace Bailey, but you see those pre-draft bits, you see the rumors, and I felt like he was put in a tough spot, right? Where everything's reported on, everything runs through the rumor mill. So you start hearing,
Nelly's playing tomorrow, I've been told.
Yeah, after the Skeens and the Joe Ryan game, but Ace Bailey. You think it's so negative. He doesn't want to be in Utah. Then you get a piece of him in the summer league, and you're like, wow, this kid can ball a little bit. Like, I hope that a kid like that with that talent sees the opportunity that he's going to have with Utah, right? Like, things like
100%.
that. So I love the summer league stories, the summer league steam as it emanates from the 702. And that kind of whets our palate as we get closer, like we're waiting for Vikings training camp and previewing teams and thinking about J.J. McCarthy. This kind of whets our palate for ultimately preseason and 82 games with our favorite hoops team.
Speaking of the word steam, the Steam team is about to assemble.
It's time.
Who are they? What is that? Copyright the late Bill Withers. Who are they and who are you and what are you to me? You'll find out around the corner into the final hour of this Thursday, 9 to noon at KFAN.